creators, thanks for coming to watch another video today. This video is going to be all about to-do lists. So for me, to-do lists have always been a part of my life. I just recently kind of came across a system that I think is really going to help me, and I think is going to keep me more organized and on track. There's different ways to do your to-do list, so I'm going to give you a few options, but this to-do list is going to be based off of a system that I came across. Like I said, I came across it and kind of adapted it to my own needs, and so I hope you find it interesting. So first, let's talk about where you could put your to-do list. For me, I tend to put my to-do lists on my pages for the day, and the thing is that works perfectly. As you can see, this is today's. I haven't gone and checked off much of anything yet, but this was yesterday's, and I checked off a few things, took a few notes there, and this was the day before. It didn't have much to do. I think it was oh yeah, that's Monday, and this was the beginning of the week. So some people like to put their to-do list here, and that is great. I would say keep it there if that's what works for you, but I think there should be a master to-do list, and for me, I was keeping it here. This is my running to-do list that I have in my Filofax right now, and I think that it worked out well. But as you can see, I don't really have a lot of things checked off yet, and that's because it's not functional. I know that I want these things done, but there's a couple things I could do to make this easier for me. So I'm going to show you what I have discovered, and we'll see if it helps you out. So these are just notes over here on this side of the Philo. This is going to seem very, very, I guess, complex at first, but I will try my best to explain it to you. So we have two lists. We have the Now Tasks list, and we have the Over the Horizon list. Now let me go through and explain to you the differences and why it is that they work. First, you have the Now Tasks list. This first part of it is called Critical Now, Must Do Today. As you can see, I have chosen to use squiggly lines. That's up to you, and I'll tell you why in a second. Critical Now is where you absolutely have to do today. You kind of have to think to yourself, would I stay up and get this done until 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. until it's done and I don't wake up with it not done? Or can I do it tomorrow and it would be okay? This is also a section that will cause you stress if it's not done. You're going to want to check this section hourly to see if you are keeping up with your to-do list. That's your critical now. Your opportunity now, which I put up here, although it could be moved down more so that you're not confused. Your opportunity now is something that's not critically due today, but you would like to do it today. So you might get it done tomorrow or the next week, but you should at least review this once a day so you know if it can be done today. If it can, well then you're going to move it to your critical now, or you're just going to get it done. You don't necessarily have to move it. So, how do the squiggly lines help me? The squiggly lines help me because I can go over to my pages here in my DIY fish, and I can add them in there. I don't need to check them off here. I can look here and see what's critical now, what's critical today. I must do it today, and I am going to add that to my daily pages because I still want to use my daily pages. Now, when you're done with your critical now list, you could highlight it or check it off on the side so that you have it, you know that it's done, and then you can work on your opportunity nows. Now let's go over to the next list. The next list is the Over the Horizon weekly list. Normally, this would probably be a little bit larger because this is going to be anything that you can think of over the horizon, like it says, anything that comes to your head, and it's sort of like a brain dump if you ever heard of a brain dump before. It's sort of like that. So these things can be postponed, and I'm just flipping this page because I have notes. So these things could be postponed. They are lower priority items, but you do want to review these things once a week so that you know if you need to move them to your opportunity now list or your critical now list, because they might change. So you want to definitely migrate these things over. That's why I'm using the squiggly lines, because I'm not necessarily going to get these things done most likely, but I'm able to migrate them over to these lists and I don't feel overwhelmed by a checkbox. When I have my to-do list in my fish inserts, I get very intimidated by the to-do boxes here, and if they're not checked off, I get really anxious about it. So I like the squiggly line idea. Another tip here for this now task list is that you want to keep your opportunity now list to about 10 items or less. These are things that you want to get done within the week. And normally what you can do is you can move, if you get all those 10 things done that week, that's amazing, and you can pull from this list. So I would say keep this to 10 and under. Now, let's just talk about some regular tips as far as to-do lists. You're going to make sure every item on your to-do list starts with the verb. Okay, so as you can see, most of my to-do lists start with the verb. I have finish, clean, I have go, film, take, change, and organize. These are all verbs. If I were to cover this up and say 5E lesson plans, clutter, gym, name at school, second bedroom, UPS, video. Those things do not require your brain to know that you're going to have to do something. You need to put a verb in front of all of your tasks, and as soon as you start doing that, it will become a habit and you will get more things done. Buy, think, plan, order, make. These are all verbs. Professional lighting, second bedroom, vacation, Christmas tree, Christmas dividers. When I look at that, I'm not thinking anything urgent. I'm just thinking, oh, okay, what about those things? So it's important to have a verb in front of your to-do lists. My next tip is that you can add dates or deadlines to your longer to-do lists. So let's look at that down here. This is a to-do list with deadlines. I have here buy a Christmas tree by November 15th, and I underline that with highlighter so that I can make sure to reference that date when I'm looking at my list. Plan a vacation by November 1st. Take back items to UPS by October 28th. This really gets you thinking in the future, to the future, and gets you planning for things ahead of time. You can reference your calendar, and you're just able to do more when you are creating deadlines. Deadlines are very important for task lists because if you don't have a deadline, then it's like you can get it done whenever you want to, and that's usually not okay. Another tip would be to break tasks into smaller tasks. So here's a perfect example of what I didn't do correctly. Plan a vacation by November 1st. That is a huge task. If you think about it, there's so many things that I need to do before you just say, well, I'm going to plan a vacation today. I have about an hour, so I'm going to plan a vacation. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so you can easily see here how I can make one huge task into a lot of smaller tasks and make it its own list. So vacation to-do list, and I put here due by November 1st because that's when my goal was on my other list. It's plan a vacation, and then I have sub-points. So these are all the different things here that I have to do in order to create this vacation and make it successful. Then on the side, because I was brain dumping here, on the side I just numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The reason why is because these two things are priority. Then I have 3 here, budget finances for spending. In order to do that, I needed to have done those two things. But also, let's see, 3, 4, look up shows and stuff like that in order to create my itinerary, which is 5. In order to create a packing list, and then after that, I need to buy any appropriate clothing. So that's my longer to-do list for bigger items. This might be its own to-do list, and that's okay. Now I want to talk about different identifiers. What I mean by different identifiers is there's a lot of ways for someone to create a to-do list. So right here I have squiggly lines for the sake of me not wanting to be anxiety driven. by boxes, and that's because it's a longer list. But let's say I have a smaller list, like the one on my DIY fish. So I have a circle here because it's a visual and you can see that it can be colored in, and I have a heart here for fun that can also be colored in. So these are all different ways that you can set up your to-do list. Down here I have for a bullet journal style to-do list. So if you wanted to put indicators on your to-do list, you could do it this way. Sorry about that. So if you wanted to put indicators on your to-do list, you could do it this way. For example, if something's urgent, you would just put that there. This is to remember or don't forget. This is an inspiration or an idea. This is an explore item. This is for notes. This is today's priority. And this is for migrated. Now, the difference between urgent and today's priority is urgent might be more than one thing, and today's priority, you're going to pick one thing for today's priority. So you can definitely use this, and I'll show you how here. So for example, it's just an example. If you're not sure how the bullet system works, I have wash dishes, a little checkbox, and then I have a exclamation point. And that can easily just be checked off when it's done. Now, if you were to migrate something over, you can either migrate it over here or you can migrate it over here. It's up to you. And now you're probably wondering, how do I make a to-do list? Well, I also participate in a brain dump the same way that a lot of other people do, as I've noticed, and this is the template that I am currently using. So what I did was I actually just copied it all and I pasted it onto a Microsoft Word document, and I washi taped it to the side and punched it into my planner so it's easily accessible. And what I did also was I went ahead and slit the ends so I can pull it out when I'm working with it. And I put a page back here for the brain dumps. So this is actually a tab in my Philo that I have created for a brain dump. And this helps me create my to-do list, and I'll show you why. I am just going to take this list and I am going to run down all of these different items here, such as projects started, not completed, and things like that. And what I'm going to do is that as soon as I hit something such as email, I think that's one of them that I hit yesterday when I was doing this, I'm just going to write down what exactly that pertains to. Oh, I just remembered I have to email Miss Harris about Wednesday Academy. So I wrote that down really quickly, and when I'm creating my to-do list, I can go back to these different items and I can create that list without it just being, I guess, thought of, and these are actually indicators for what I need to think of, if that makes sense. It's a little helper and it helps you along. So yes, you can see there is a giveaway coming actually too, so stay tuned. And that is how I create my to-do list there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you found it helpful and your to-do lists are going to be that much more productive, and you are able to get all your things done and you're able to find peace with your to-do list. Please let me know how this video went for you, or if you're confused about any of the concepts, and I will see you in the next video. Happy planning!